The first day of the Craig Jones Invitational is in the books, and just in case you're not up to speed, the CJI was started by Craig Jones in order to disrupt the ADCC monopoly in an effort to pay athletes more money. After day one, I was very impressed. The stream was great, there were no audio issues, the pacing was really good at first, more on that in a second, and get this, it was free on YouTube. Who'da thunk it? If you want to grow the sport, you need to give part of it away for free. People who are just getting interested in jiu-jitsu are not going to buy a subscription to Flow Grappling, and they're not going to be exposed to competitive jiu-jitsu. There is a reason the UFC puts on fights for free on TV before each pay-per-view. Imagine you found a new hobby tomorrow. Would you drop $150 for a year-long subscription to something to watch that hobby? Probably not, which means that by putting something out for free, you can pull in new people who are just finding the sport and just getting interested in it. Free grows the sport, and then you can eventually move behind a paywall if you like. For Craig Jones Invitational day one, here are some of my thoughts. I really liked how they're doing it like MMA with 3 5-minute rounds with a brief break in between each round, and these slanted walls of the pit, or the alley that they're calling it, eliminates a lot of that ADCC where we push somebody out of bounds, then we got to take time to reset and get the match going again. The slanted walls really prevent a lot of going out of bounds and resetting. Also, I was really happy to see the open scoring and knowing where the judges are scoring each round so that we know where the match stands as it's happening. Now, I mentioned pacing. It started off great and there was very little time in between each match and we were going through them pretty quickly, but then as the night went on, it kind of slowed a little bit and some of that time between matches got extended and there was a little bit more, I guess you could say, fluff. They did the first 2 rounds of the over 80 kilos bracket first, and then they jumped to the under 80 kilos, but that jump didn't happen until like 5.5 hours into the event. There were a lot of matches, obviously, to get through, but it was a long day, and it was made longer by a slower pacing towards the end. The first round matchup that I was actually most looking forward to on day one was Luke Rockhold versus Pat Downey. Obviously, Luke Rockhold is a former UFC champion, and it did feel like a little bit of publicity stunt maybe when they announced that he was competing, because he was one of the first guys they announced for this event. And you know, a former UFC champion is going to bring in the eyeballs. But I was really interested in the match because Luke Rockhold is very good jiu-jitsu and Pat Downey has had some very good matches. So I was interested to see how that was going to play out, and it was interesting. It kind of seemed like Luke Rockhold didn't really take it seriously or didn't want to be there. Pat Downey was very explosive and was pretty well in control of the match, and Luke Rockhold just kind of seemed indifferent to it, like he accepted he was going to lose. At one point they were like slap fighting each other half-heartedly. Pat Downey got the win, but it was definitely one of the most interesting matches of the night. My favorite match of the night was Tai Rotolo versus Jason Knopf, the Penn State wrestler. These dudes were going at it, and then Tai eventually hit a very clean finish. Speaking of submissions, my favorite sub of the night was Lucas Kennard heel hooking Victor Hugo because, you know, leg lock guy and all. But also it was just such a huge upset. Victor Hugo is legit as they come, so it was a big surprise to see Kennard hit the heel hook like a minute into the match. There was another big upset in the under 80 kilos bracket in the second round where Levi Jones-Leary actually defeated Tai Rotolo, the man that I thought was going to win the whole thing. So it was a kind of wild day. We are set up for day 2. Let me know in the comments what you thought about day 1. We still have the super fights to look forward to. Fionn Davies versus Mackenzie Dern, and then Craig Jones versus Gabby Garcia if that match actually happens. More on that in the next video. The final 4 for the over 80 kilos is Nicky Rod, Ignacio Santos, Adam Bradley, and Felipe Andrew. The final 4 for the under 80 kilos is Jones Leary, Cade Rotolo, Lucas Barbosa, and Andrew Tackett. My predictions for day 2 are that Nicky Rod will win over 80 kilos, and since my pick Tai Rotolo is out, I'll just slide his brother in and say that Cade Rotolo will win the under 80 kilos. If they actually do the super fight, I think Craig will beat Gabby Garcia, and I do think Fionn Davies will beat Mackenzie Dern in their match. Obviously, the Craig Jones Invitational, like almost all jiu-jitsu tournaments, is a weight-restricted event with dividing the athletes into weight categories, and if you compete in a weight-restricted sport or you just want to live a little bit longer, having access to a sauna is a huge resource. Saunas are a great way to help your athletic recovery and your overall health. This is the one that I have. I love it. I got it from Sweat Tent. On top of just generally liking the sauna and how it feels, I do feel like it helps my recovery and it helps my jiu-jitsu. and because I did get it from Sweat Tent, I didn't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars like if I got it from some other places. You can check them out at sweattent.com, and the code Justin at checkout will take $100 off your order, so you really have no excuse not to pick one up and to improve your overall health and improve your jiu-jitsu and your athletic performance. I will put the link in the description to them. Before you go, hop in the comments, give me your predictions for day 2 of the Craig Jones Invitational. I'd love to argue with you today about who is going to win and why. Obviously, ADCC day 1 is the same day as CJI day 2, so I will be doing double duty for you. I will make 2 separate videos recapping both days, and if I'm really feeling ambitious, I'll try to get some UFC content out as well. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. That way you don't miss the next one. I'm going to be very busy this weekend, but it's going to be the best weekend, I think, in the history of combat sports, so I am very excited for it. Thank you so much for watching this recap, and I will see you in the next one.